Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Babbling Iron show, a review show, the first of the season after a 1-1 draw with Bournemouth. Said it would be probably a tricky game. It turned out to be the case, probably by our own doing, but we will get into that shortly. We come away with a point with our first game of the season. Not too bad, but certainly could have been better. But before we kind of break down the match, let's look at the lineups for both teams going into it. So you can kind of see us. It was what we expected with a couple of twists. Obviously, Areola in goal. I expected Fabianski to start. Antonio came straight in up front for Danny Ings, really. And we got to see Fornals in the middle. I'm guessing Flynn Downs is close to a move away to Southampton with James Ward-Prowse coming in. So we saw Souček as a 6 and alongside kind of Paqueta in a deeper role with Fornals slightly advanced playing 8 as well. So yeah, it was a nice blend to the team. It was probably the strongest 11 we've seen in a long time, especially in the middle of the park, obviously without Declan Rice. But having Paqueta and Fornals in that midfield was really nice to see with a link up and how they kind of work together. But yeah, we'll get into that shortly. And you can kind of see the average positions from the match for how we kind of lined up and where they actually ended up going on the field. Bournemouth had a lot of possession, around 63%. So we were deep at times, and you can kind of see where each player played. Fornals actually more advanced than Antonio a lot of the time, with obviously Antonio coming in and linking play or trying to link play unsuccessfully a lot of times, and then obviously Bowen playing that inverted winger role high up. And yeah, Paqueta and Souček kind of sitting deep, and Paqueta was really deep today compared to where we're used to seeing him, which I actually think is probably one of his best positions. Maybe not as deep as he was today, but when he comes back and collects the ball and links up play really well, he is one of the best in the league at doing that when he's connecting play. And Fornals kind of had the freedom to roam, and you can kind of see by that heat map just how high up he played. He was almost acting as the number 10 when we didn't have the ball, and playing kind of in that 4-4-2 structure defensively with Antonio and Fornals kind of the pair when we're pressing. There were a few issues with that. There were some gaps in midfield which we've expected to see, and obviously without Alvarez coming in yet, it was always going to be the case. But I actually thought Souček had an absolutely really good game today. But yeah, we'll get onto individual performances at the end. Let's kind of talk about the highlights. Obviously, we started the game pretty well. Not too much either side in it. And then we came really close to scoring. Fornals was linking play excellently, finding the pockets really well. Paqueta was playing a lot deeper, which allowed Fornals that space in the middle. He actually drifted out to the left-hand side, won the ball, played a lovely ball to Benrahma, who also then slipped in Souček in behind, who for some reason decided to go into the box, which we're used to him seeing. So I think that was kind of the plan. Souček was holding, but when we had the ball, if Paqueta was kind of sitting in deep, Souček was instructed to go into the box and make those advanced runs, which he likes doing. And it worked really well. And, his shot was really unlucky, took a slight deflection and came off the post. And Antonio just couldn't get on the rebound or get in contact with the first strike from Souček. So we were unlucky not to go ahead. And then not long after, we had a shot cleared off the line, obviously from a set piece this time, something we've highlighted as one of our strengths, or maybe a weakness that we can't really create much from open play in general, but it worked from a set piece. Paqueta flicks on Bowen's cross, and yeah, it kind of went through a pack of players in the middle of the box, and yeah, they cleared it off the line. I think it was Billing in the end, and well, yeah, we were close again. And then really their biggest effort of the half in the first half came from Brooks when, again, kind of half cleared the ball on the edge of the box. Kind of panicky. We did that a few times in the match where we just lacked composure from the back, and we were just trying to hit the channels or, try and clear it out, as probably David Moyes instructs his team to do when there's kind of not too many passes on or we don't really want to risk it. It turned out to be a really bad clearance and went straight to Brooks, who tried to curl it in, and Fabianski made a really good save down to his right-hand side. So the first half, there wasn't too much in it. I thought we slightly edged it in terms of chances. And overall, our play was a bit more impactful than what Bournemouth were doing. I think we limited them quite well to just passing horizontally rather than vertically. And when we did collect the ball, we looked pretty dangerous in the pockets. And, highlights, standouts from the first half were Fornals and especially Souček as well. I thought them two were working really well in the midfield, and obviously Paqueta was doing his thing, winning lots of fouls, keeping possession really well. And at times linking play really well. So yeah, we were doing very well. Up to a point, I thought we could have done a lot better on the ball at times. I think that's something we need to try and drill into this team and move away from. But it's difficult under David Moyes just because of how resolute and compact he wants to be off the ball. So when we actually do get the ball, often our players aren't really in positions to create sequences, and often it is looking for those counter-attacking options or pockets between the lines. So that was kind of the story of the first half. And then second half, some really poor defending by us to start with. And it came out to Brooks on the edge of the box, completely unmarked. I'm not sure where our midfield was at the time. And he kind of volleyed it first time. And Areola, again, to his credit, another very good save, tipping it over the bar. And yeah, it was just starting to open up a little bit for either side. The midfield was starting to get a little bit stretched. And you know what? It actually helped us because we had a decent chance. Benrahma kind of cut in, tried to play it through to Antonio, got intercepted. But there was Fornals in that 8 position, showing that it's not just, offensive what he can do, but he also has the defensive side of his game, which we've said time and time again, he will do for us as well if he's played in the correct position. And yeah, he made a really good tackle, really high up in their third of the pitch, played the ball to Souček, who played a nice first time ball to Bowen, took 2 touches and just finished from outside the box, curled it top corner. And that's what we know to expect from Jarrod Bowen. When he gets into those clinical moments, he is often clinical. Just last season, he didn't show that. And I'm really glad he started the season with a goal because it's going to give him that confidence to push on. But overall, his contribution in the match wasn't amazing. But, with a player like Bowen, and as we highlighted with the kind of player positions, he almost acts as that inside forward. And he isn't really a creator. He is a finisher. And it's probably what David Moyes alluded to in his press conference before the match, saying, we might actually look to play Bowen up top as a striker. And maybe that's why we're not going to go into the market for a new striker, because he maybe wants to transition him into that role. But it'd be interesting to see how that works out, because he definitely has the finishing and movement to play up front. And I think that could work really well. So if we do sign a right winger, it's maybe why we want someone like Cole Palmer. But digressing a little bit from the match, and yeah, we were playing well at that point. I thought we were pushing up higher. We were intercepting in dangerous areas, and we looked a little bit more confident on the ball. But as soon as we score in matches, it suddenly switches in our head to just kind of be compact and defend what you have, whether that's installed by the manager or whether it's kind of the players. I mean, Bowen said it after the game, the players have to take responsibility for dropping that deep. I don't think so. I think it's on David Moyes. It always has been. Whenever we kind of take the lead, it's then to kind of soak up pressure and counter-attack. It's never to continue playing on the front foot unless we're playing a very weaker opposition. Very rarely in the Premier League we see us do dominate in that way, especially away from home. So I was really surprised we took our foot off the gas. And yeah, they almost equalised with a long-range shot of themselves when it was Rothwell. Kind of collected the ball outside the area. Again, takes it past Fornals very easily. Something that definitely deserves to be criticised, but it was just really poor defending overall. Because of how deep we were, we're pretty much inside our 6-yard box at times. And then, yeah, he struck it, hit the bar, and we kind of got let off. And those were the warning signs. They started to make changes. We didn't. I think that, it was really obvious we needed to change it up front or change something. I think Cornet coming on for Benrahma probably would have been a good option at that point. He brought Danny Ings on for Antonio, which was probably an okay call, to be honest. Maybe Mubama or Ings, but Antonio definitely looked out on his feet at that point and wasn't contributing well at all. He kept losing the ball. He wasn't holding up play. And yeah, he did much better in the first half than the second half. So it was frustrating because we just dropped deeper and deeper and deeper and gave them so much space, and we were tiring in the midfield, and we just kind of let them go. And yeah, towards the end of the game, in the last 10 minutes or so, Paqueta actually gave up in the middle of the park. If you rewatch it back, and he was actually doing it a few times in the second half, and it was getting a bit worrying because yes, he was playing well in the first half and defending well and linking play. He did switch off in that second half, no doubt he did. Whether that's due to fatigue or what, other stuff. He lets Semenyo, the substitute, run past him with the ball after a give and go. And then, to be fair, the goal is a little bit lucky, but it isn't. Semenyo takes the shot from outside the box, pretty much scuffs it. It's a really poor shot. But Souček slightly sticks out his leg and it kind of dribbles past our defense. And, just a frame before, Zuma's kind of touched tight to Solanke. He sees him in his vision. And as soon as the ball is shot, Zuma switches off. And Solanke, as good strikers are, is alert to that. And he's running onto the ball in behind Zuma. And yeah, it falls to him. He gets the reward of running in behind and takes around Areola to equalize. And at that point, it was so frustrating because just because of how much we let them come back into the game. They brought on Kiefer Moore. They were starting to go a little bit more direct, but all in all, we didn't need to succumb to that pressure at all. We could have kept playing a little bit higher up how we were playing, because we were causing them a lot of problems as well. And, when you invite so much pressure like that and you kind of trust your ball winners like Zuma and Aguerd to defend, you're always running the risk of something like that happening. And yeah, it just allowed them to grow into confidence into the game. And, we basically gave them that equalizer, to be honest, just because of how we were set up at that point. And, the lack of intensity going forwards, and we were just clearing the ball back to the halfway line with no one really there. And it was just really poor defensively when we did get the ball in our own third. And that's probably why we conceded. It is why we conceded, which is the most frustrating part, because this was 3 points. This really was a 3-point match, and we've thrown that away. And we were close to getting it back right at the end with Emerson's ball into Ings. Completely scuffed, missed a header. I'm not sure how. It was quite a powerful cross, but he should still be hitting a target or scoring from there, a few yards out from the goal. It then comes back out to Paqueta, who takes a lovely first touch in the box and strikes it low and hard into the bottom corner, but cannons off the post. And yeah, that was pretty much it for the game. Frustrating that it ended up 1-1, but I guess the good thing is we didn't lose. It's always hard to tell from the first match what the precedent is going to be for the rest of the season, but because of fitness, because, we haven't integrated any new signings yet. So that's one thing I will say to kind of defend David Moyes a little bit, is he hasn't had any new signings coming in. And there were kind of a lack of options in midfield to bring on. Probably why he brought Thilo Kehrer into the midfield. Again, another substitution that I question. But yeah, I mean, overall, it was a decent performance. Nothing more, nothing less. We had enough chances to win the game. I thought we got unlucky in spells in front of goal. Obviously hitting the post twice is pretty unlucky, and having one cleared off the line. But they also created a couple of good chances, and defensively, we weren't good enough towards the end. Yes, they got a little bit of luck, but if you watch the ball, Zuma has to do better, and so does Paqueta in that situation. So as much as people will say it's lucky it deflected off Souček, it shouldn't have got to that position in the first place, and that was off our own doing. So, yeah, I think 1-1 was probably a fair result, to be honest. I thought the referee had a pretty poor game from both sides. The yellow card to Bowen was just ridiculous. And, yeah, I think overall we can take some positives from the match, but we got some really tough fixtures coming up. We've got Chelsea at home, Brighton away, Luton away, and then the big ones against City and Liverpool. So it's not going to get any easier. That's the thing with the Premier League. These are the games you have to be winning if you want to be kind of up in the top 10, top 8 battle come the end of the season. So yeah, all in all, frustrating that we didn't get the 3 points, but there were certainly positives to take. One of those being Souček, absolutely much better player playing in the 6 with less responsibility to, go forwards or connect play. And we just looked so much better with Fornals being that person. Paqueta dropping deeper. He's much better in the deep lying 8 role. I thought he dropped a little bit deep at times, but I think that was just instruction because Souček was bombing on a little bit. Alvarez won't do that. Alvarez will kind of sit in, and it will allow, if Paqueta does stay or someone else comes in, it will allow him and Fornals, hopefully, or someone like Ward-Prowse to find those gaps and, connect play a little bit better. So, yeah, there were definitely positives. Again, Fornals a massive positive for me for how he played in the middle. And it's definitely shown to Moyes now that he just should not be playing out on the left, out on the right. He's not that type of player, and he's just being wasted. And, we're wasting away his technical ability and, industrious play that he brings to this team. So, yeah, I think that is pretty much the summary of it. There isn't too much else to say other than that. But let me know what you guys thought in the comments. Were you happy with the performance? Were there things you think we need to improve on? Were you happy with the selection of players? And yeah, how do you think the likes of Alvarez, Ward-Prowse, maybe even Maguire are going to come in and impact this team? Do you think it's only going to get better from here? Or is there potential for other things to happen, as there always does? at West Ham. But yeah, that's going to be all for today. Leave a like on the video, subscribe to the YouTube channel if you are new around here, and until next time, come on, you irons.